My name is Evan Russell. I'm a fifth-year MD PhD here at Hopkins, and I'm here to ask you a question. That question is, what can we learn from listening? Now, during my education at Hopkins, I've been told that there's a variety of sources I should listen to. Those are things like journals, classes, professors. Those things have told me an important story about medicine, about health. They've told me the numbers of healthcare. But one thing I noticed that I was missing was the narrative of healthcare. How do people go from being in your seat here to being sick, to getting better, to not getting better? And I was really curious about that. I read papers like this for my research. I work in Afghanistan on a large-scale public health trial. And I read papers like this and I saw things that said, people are not doing well. There's a lot of people who are losing their lives. There's a lot of kids who are losing their lives. A lot of mothers who are losing their lives. But this didn't tell me something that I really wanted to know. I come from a family of 4. What would it mean for me to lose one of my siblings? How would that even happen? What was happening between families there, where 1 in 4 kids were dying before the age of 5, and families like mine, where all of us survived? Why is my mother still alive? Why did she survive pregnancy? What's the story behind that? So I was curious. So I went and I asked families like this. I wanted to know their stories. One of the first stories I heard from a family like this was it's actually from a village leader just outside of Kabul. His wife died during pregnancy, and he did something fairly unexpected, actually, for Afghanistan. His wife died, he could have remarried, he could have, mourned, moved on. He went to the local health center, and he said, this is unacceptable. I want to change this in my community. I want you to help me. I want you to bring better health to the women, to the mothers, to the children in our community. That hospital director happened to have a medical student there at the time. That was me. He asked me to help. They were, as you can imagine, under-resourced, understaffed, as many of you all are, especially exacerbated in other countries. I said yes, along with a couple of other folks who sat in your seats, actually, people who were at medicine, nursing, public health. We said yes, and we formed Empowerment Health. And Empowerment Health it's a US-based 501c3 nonprofit, but the objective of this is really to answer that question, to provide those services that this village leader and many other village leaders, many other women, many other children have asked. What can be done to reduce the deaths, to reduce the mortality and morbidity in this community? Now, this isn't just us, and it's not just the folks who are sitting here. About half of our team is actually based in Afghanistan. Men and women, Afghan doctors, nurses, community health workers, lots of different people who have lived there, have the experience, who are also asking this question. So we've joined together. Now, I want to play this again. Now, if you're listening, you hear a couple different things, a couple different very interesting things. The first thing, and this is taken from inside of this healthcare center right here, you hear women and children who are sick. You heard some coughing. Second thing that you hear, if you dig a little bit deeper, is you hear the voice of women. Now, if you've read kind of the traditional literature, the numbers about Afghanistan, about maternal and child health in Afghanistan, you've heard that women do not have a voice, that they don't know very much about healthcare, and that they aren't able to access healthcare. Now, what you heard was a bunch of women in a healthcare facility who are talking and who are waiting for healthcare. So, right there, the numbers that I learned, that I read, not true. I think you hear an important thing below this, though, and that is the confusion. It's very difficult to make out a very distinct message from this. And so what we did is we said, where can we, what's the next step in this? What should we do next? How do we get these voices into something that we can use to make a program, to make an outreach, to design something that will improve conditions for these women and kids? So we convened focus groups, and we did a bunch of these. We did some with pregnant women, teachers, village leaders, shop owners, etc. And we asked them a series of questions about their health, about their community. Now what you hear is one voice and a baby, when we're always walking around with the babies. That's pretty much ever present. But this is something we could use. This is something we could distill into a program, into an outreach. And here's what we did. We took a bunch of questions, and you can see our different groups across the top, and we asked all of these groups the questions. We had our Afghan team go out and ask them. I want to just break down one of these for you, although I'm going to show a couple quick ones after this. So here you have, we asked about who's making the important decisions for women and their health, especially around pregnancy. Now pretty much everyone said mothers-in-laws and husbands, or men. What's interesting, you ask follow-up questions about who has the knowledge about what are some of the danger signs of pregnancy, of childbirth. Now, these guys, you can see them circled, they either refused, kind of underlying message there, same here, or they didn't know. Not surprising. That is something you can get from the numbers. What we didn't realize, and what wasn't in the numbers, was this. You find a lot of women actually know, and if you look at kind of the morbidity, these are the things that are killing women. These are the things that women are getting sick from around pregnancy. So the women know what some of these signs are, but they can't act on those. And so why is that happening? Well, you saw a little bit of it earlier. Women are the ones at the health center with the kids. They're the ones being exposed to the messages. Shop owners don't think that this is a medical text right there. So something we didn't know from the numbers. We did a couple more. What are some of the important problems in the community? And how, if at all, do you think these community issues relate to health? We found out that people understood germ theory. They said there's tons of trash. If we fix that trash problem, people won't get sick. Brilliant. We asked, what type of programs would you like to deal with these problems? And how could we address those for kids? Who would be good for these programs? We found out that sending women out into the community would be a great fix. People, both men and women, wanted community health workers. Women wanted jobs. It's a great mix. So what did we do in response to this? We got all this information. We have the numbers on one side. Now we have the narratives. We said, okay, we're going to send women out into the community. Then we're going to go talk to other women. There's a woman walking along right now. And they're going to provide a couple of important things. One of those things is healthcare for pregnant women and women who could become pregnant. So this is moms, young women. Another thing is healthcare for kids. Here you see a baby getting vaccinated. Afghan kids love shots, so he's really excited. And then lastly, one of the other things we do is health education. And that's not only for the ladies, that's also for the guys who really don't have that clear conception of what the health problems are. And then we want to clean up some of the trash. And that's not just, getting guys out in the community to clean up stuff off the street. That's also thinking about, we work out of a hospital. How much trash is generated out of the hospital? How can we reduce that trash impact in our community? So it's also about being responsible as providers. And then lastly, and I think this is important, we stuck to this question. How can we keep listening? How can we keep learning and keep understanding what are the important issues in the community? How are these changing? How can we continue to meet those? So this is really a story, this is really a small kind of vignette about what we did at Empowerment Health, how we answered that question, what can we learn from listening. Chances are if you're sitting here, you're really interested in improving health. And that's maybe for a patient, that might be for an entire population. Chances are you're also like me, where that balance beam was swung way to the side of the numbers and very little to the side of narratives. I gave you some examples of some things that we learned as an organization from listening to those narratives, from talking to women we didn't think knew as much as they did, and we found out a lot. Not only did we find out a lot, we found out that many of these women actually wanted to be partners in improving their health. You're going to see a lot of patients who you may think this person may not have the ability, may not have the interest. And I can tell you, from talking to some of the most disenfranchised women in the world, that's not true. You have a great chance to listen, and I hope you take it.